Hey guys, our community club, happy Friday, and today we're about to do a little lesson. So to begin with, we're gonna pull out a sheet of paper. Everyone pull out a sheet of paper and make 3 columns that look like this. And in the first column, I want you to sit and jot down 5 or more things that on a weekly basis when you're on campus, what do you devote your time to? And on some of you guys' lists, there might be Netflix and there might be Facebook, because let's be honest, we make time for those Netflix binge days. So everyone jot down 5 or more of those. And then next, we're gonna think about the same thing. We're on a normal week on campus, and where do we spend most of our money? Okay, once we've jotted down 5 or more for both columns, we're gonna jump right into it. So today we're discussing what values are. And understanding values is really big for yourself, and it will help direct you in your life. So before we begin, value is a buzzword. So what we believe is a value might be totally different for someone else. And so with that being said, could someone define what a value is to them? Someone give me an example of a value to them. Yes. Exactly, perfect. Okay. So we're gonna sit and we're gonna talk about it with a few people around you. Just why do businesses have them? Who influences them? And do they impact every day and how we behave? So we know there's many reasons for value. We're going to talk about values on how and where. So today we're going to really try to identify those values, those core values for ourselves, and how they're going to impact our lives. So we want to dig deeper into those values and what they mean to us. So when you walked in, you were given 5 pieces of paper, and so today we're going to write on each individual piece of paper a value. And don't just write the word, write an entire sentence of what that value means to you, because someone else in the class might have that same word down, but that value might mean totally different to them than what it does to you. So I'll give you a second to write down 5 values. Okay, so now everyone take a look at your 5 values. Hold them tight, close to your heart, and I want you to look at them. And these values should be things that you look at like a lens, and they're going to be the lens in which you see the world. They're your anchor. They're going to keep your world upright. These are these 5 core values that are going to keep your days going on good days and bad days. And now we're going to walk around with a trash can, and I want you to throw away 2 values. Okay, everyone throw away 2 values. I know, this might be hard for some of you. Okay, and now I want you to look at your 3 values you have left. And now I'm going to walk around again with the trash can, and we're going to throw away another value away. Okay. So, now with the 2 values, you have these 2 precious pieces of paper. I want you guys to look at them and just think about why do you still have these 2 pieces of paper, these 2 words, versus the other 3 that you threw away? Do they mean something more to you? Do you think the other 3 values were more disposable, or these 2 are more disposable than the other 3? Maybe you could get away with not holding yourself accountable to these core values. Just really think about why you still have these 2 versus the other 3. And so we're going to sit here and each ask ourselves these questions, and we're going to think about them for about a little bit longer than 30 seconds each. So what are you feeling? Are you feeling emotional? Are you feeling anxious that you might have maybe thrown one of those values away that you maybe should have kept? Or do you have one that maybe you shouldn't have kept? Or you're questioning it? How did you decide what values to throw away? Like I said, were the other ones maybe not as disposable? You felt that if you weren't living by those values, that your world wasn't going to be able to turn, and they weren't going to be the anchor, and your life was just going to go up in shambles. Well, then maybe you throw those away versus the two you still have that you think maybe you'll get by if you don't live by them every day, every second. And 3, how did it feel to throw the other values away? I sat here when I was doing this and thought, maybe am I throwing values away when I show up late? Time is my biggest value. So if I'm late to a meeting or late to an obligation, I'm not standing by my value. And that makes me feel like maybe one of those that time should have been thrown away for me if I'm not living by my value. And then 4, what value did you keep and why? Again, why did you keep these 2 precious pieces of paper, these 2 precious words? What made you keep these versus the other ones? Because there's probably a reason, whether you realize it right off the bat, yep, I'm going to keep these 2 because of this, or maybe just think, maybe this is why. Okay, so basically, values give us purpose. And that sounds really deep, but it really does. Because, you're growing up and you're realizing and noticing so many new things. You're meeting new people, and people have expectations, and there's expectations in the world around you. And maybe you're thinking, I need to meet the expectations of the people around me, or the things that are happening, I need to follow the norm. But once you have figured out your core values, you have a purpose. You're not living for anyone else, you're living for yourself. You're doing what you want to do because you know your values in life, and you know what you want, and you know what you need to do that. So values truly do give you purpose, whether you realize it or not. And then 2nd, values give us confidence and accountability. Like I said, once you know your values, you have the confidence in doing whatever you want. You know if you're given a choice, you know which choice to make, and you're confident in your decision because you have core values and you're living by them. And people always say, holding yourself accountable makes everything easier. So when you have your core values, you can hold yourself accountable way more easier than if you don't have any core values and you're just floating through life. That makes it a little bit more hard. And then thirdly, values make life simpler. Again, if you're given a situation and you're like, shoot, does this align with my values? You're going to know easily what that choice is and what that decision is, because you're like, yes, it does align with my values, or no, it doesn't. So you have that decision right there made for you, and it just makes everything simpler, and you're never as much stress as you could be if you didn't have core values. So when values and actions don't align, what does that mean? So basically, if you're talking to me, like I said, one of my biggest values is time, and I show up late to everything, how do y'all look at me? You might look at me as maybe that's not one of my values, or maybe you lose trust in me because I'm saying I value time, yet here I am, and I'm not showing up on time. So if there's a gap between what you say is your value and your actions, then there's a problem. So you can not only as a leader be aware of your values and what they are, but you have to live by them. Like I said, so you have to stand by what you say. So not only are you saying something, but you have to live by it. You have to show that what you value truly is how you live your life and how you behave every single day. So with that being said, we're going to think about the list we made at the very beginning. And I want you to just look at the list, and in a minute we're going to reflect and we're going to be able to change it. But maybe now, after you wrote down your 5 core values, and you're thinking, okay, my list doesn't match up, my time, my money doesn't match up with the things I truly value in life, and maybe that was love for family and spending time with family, but you realize maybe you put time as you made time for Netflix, and you're thinking, maybe I spend too much time watching Netflix or on Facebook, and maybe I should be spending more time with my family. then maybe in a minute, this is when you can reevaluate your time and your money and your values, and we can change that. So here's a list of some, and there's so many others, and y'all can write as many or as many different ones as you want. Not as many. We need to keep the list from 3 to 5, because the more you have, the harder it is to make the decisions in life when you're given choices if you have more values. But if you have 3 to 5 values, you can use those values in any situation in life. So think about 3 to 5 and rewrite those down, and think about that list of the time and money that you would want to spend and what you value most. So to wrap up, basically the bottom line is values matter. Once you have your core values, you truly become more accountable, you become more confident in the decisions you make, and you really can find yourself living by them and being a true person to yourself and who you guys want to be in life. So the emotions you felt, the anxiousness you felt when you were throwing away a value, remember those when you're faced with a decision you have to make. And that's going to happen in life. There's going to be hard decisions. We've probably already all faced them. And if not, there will be some to come. So just remember, you don't want to throw that value away. You never want to throw values away. You want to live by them. So just remember that when you're faced with a decision. And that's it. Thanks, guys, for listening.